Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Inside. Today we are looking at Road to Urik. This is by David Zeb Cook for Dark Sun from Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition. It's for 4 to 6 mid-level characters, roughly 4th to 7th level. This is DSQ1, and it's an adventure set. Excuse me. Product code 2406. DSQ1. Now, you can usually find it under the DSQ1, but sometimes people post the other number. This was back when TSR was owned by TSR and not by Wizards of the Coast. I believe this came out in the mid-90s. 1992. Originally retailed for $12.95. Good luck finding it for that price. This one's a little beat up, but it is still sealed. These boxes were notorious for being junky. So, let's take a look at what's inside here. Let's see what we got. You do need the Dark Sun box set to really get the most out of this, but you could probably adapt it if you're just doing some generic desert setting. But the Dark Sun campaign setting really would be helpful with this. So let's open it up, see what we got. These open from the side, so you want to be careful not to rip the top up. It's actually shockingly easy to do. These were kind of a pain in the butt to open. You gotta be real careful when you pop that tab out. These get ripped off a lot, so if you find one that's not ripped, you're in pretty good shape. Oh, this opens up too. I don't like using this, honestly, because everything gets caught up. I usually would open the sides, but you can do it this way. This is probably the easy way to do it. But I like pulling everything out so I can get all at once. And make sure everything's in good shape. Alright. Alright, so inside the box we've got an NPC master table. Not particularly difficult to figure out if you know how to play the game. You got your alignment, your armor class, your movement level, hit points, stacko, number of attacks, which everybody here is a 1, their damage, and CML, I forget. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, everything you need is conveniently located right here. These boxes are really cheap, so it does kind of get squished around. So reading this is kind of pointless during the adventure. It's more something you'll want to reference before you start playing. How to DM, a little brief overview. You'll figure it out if you have any experience whatsoever. So first we got a little mailer. It's green, pretty. Then we've got a little catalog with the 1982 spring-summer stuff. And, oh, there's the game we're looking at. And all the Dark Sun stuff's on here. Some of the basic D&D stuff. Some of these modules were pretty good, actually. Ravenloft, that was my favorite setting. Forgotten Realms, this is before the Time of Troubles, so this is the original box set. And all the others, you got Spelljammer, Dragonlance, Greyhawk, the general basic stuff that you need, the core rulebooks, Knights of Charlemagne, that was pretty good, Marvel Superheroes, various strategy games they did, Buck Rogers, Amazing Stories, Dragon Magazine, Dungeon Magazine, that sort of thing. Gamma World. So yeah, pretty cute little catalog, very big walk down nostalgia lane. So let's look at what else we've got here. First up, we've got our little story thing here. This is, I think, 14 pages. 16. It's got stats on the back for the non-players. You got some more NPC types. And then there's storyline things. This is mostly like a short story. Just provide flavor text more than anything. But it does have some NPCs in it. Probably want to read through it. The NPC stats are worth having this for. It does really help. But the Dark Sun stuff did things different than others. It had these little fold spiral bound things, which I absolutely hated these. But they were designed to be standees. So you could stand it up and flip pages up. So you got all your information right there. This is the Dungeon Master's book. So of course we got an ad right at the beginning. And a little bit of credits and whatnot there. It's hard to find these in really good shape if they're used. Not a lot of people actually seem to play the modules that much. But they still got beat up because the spirals will be screwed up or crushed or whatever. So you've got the different parts broken down. The factions of Tyr, and then on the back it's like day 8. So you get all the parts of the story kind of broken down in a pretty usable format, really. It was a neat idea, but I hated it because it made it so difficult to flip back and forth with, and they were tall enough that if you had just the general basic screen, they were almost as tall as the screen. So they'd see you flipping this over, and they might catch a glimpse of some of the text. And of course, you got everybody and their brother that wants the power game trying to get any advantage they can. So, and sometimes they get stuck, and you got to fiddle with it, and it takes up a lot of extra space when you're doing that. So that's that one. Then there's the player's book, which is mostly imagery and flavor text. So you get kind of an idea of what's going on. And there's some that are really nice that are in color. Some of the art's kind of garbage, but some of it's pretty good. So, okay, that's kind of a waste of paper, honestly. There's a map that's really handy. But then more art. Map. Art. And it kind of stunk too, because they might get a glance at something you don't want them seeing. Like, they're supposed to be looking at this page, but they catch a whiff of this one too. And when they're flipping this over, they're going to see this page before they see this one. So they might get a general idea that there's 10 or 11 guys that they're going to be looking at, maybe fighting. Then, you got your little maps and stuff, which, it was an interesting idea. I just didn't care for it. I like the regular modules better. If you want to give me a player handout book, give me a book. Don't give me this, because I could cut the book up or whatever as needed. But the spiral format, the spirals they rust, and then the cards get screwed up because there's holes all over here, so it's going to get perforated more and tear. So, yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's got some really nice colors still. It's held up pretty well. I think that was more of a storage issue. You'll want to definitely check these spirals, though, to make sure they're not screwed up. And if you're buying it on eBay, get a photo of the spirals at the top so you can tell if they're screwed up. And these to make sure that it's not torn where you'd be standing up. So yeah, overall, like I said, I don't really like these type of boxes. The boxes always get screwed up. And that's why I always open it from the other side, because opening these would damage this more often than not. You can see the discoloration where the spirals were. So I'd open it from this side to make sure this isn't damaged too badly and that everything inside is a little better taken care of. But when I ran Dark Sun, we only ever played the modules occasionally. and they never really worked well for us. But from a collector standpoint, if you're a completionist like me with stuff you collect, you'll probably want to get it. It's worth looking into. There's some cool ideas for a lot of this. Dark Sun was a pretty interesting setting, and it definitely was an interesting change of pace from standard D&D. So there's not a whole lot in the box, but there's a lot to it because it did offer some interesting ideas. Well, another thing, the spirals press into the spine here, so you'll notice little rust marks occasionally, and you'll see that it's discolored and got kind of a weird curl to it. So it's hard to find these in near mint condition because they just don't exist, really. The boxes were always getting damaged in shipping and pressed in. This one's got a dent here. So, I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera. So yeah, I like Dark Sun setting. I like a lot of roleplay stuff, but it's really hard to find these in good shape. But that'll give you kind of an idea of what you can expect in the packaging and what should be here when you get it. Most of the modules that are in these boxes, I think all of them actually, are spiral bound. So you'll need there should be 2 books, player's book and DM's book. So be aware of that. There's usually another insert too that has a short story and some stats on it or supplementary material of some kind. So be aware of that. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. I like these from the setting, but not necessarily the functionality. But that'll do it for this episode. As always, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel, and we hope to see you on the next episode of What's Inside.